The Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DC Extended Universe have been at each other's throats since the first Marvel movie came out in 2008. And since more movies have been created, this conflict has just grown exponentially, especially when it comes to the fans. But if you do watch all of the movies, you come to the understanding that there truly is one winner when it comes to which is better. Based on relatability and great casting, Marvel has it in the bag. So, in that terms, Marvel is better than DC. DC views a superhero as a mysterious man or a sexy exposed woman. When you look at the most popular characters from each universe, you get completely different genres. DC's most well-known characters are Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Superman represents the perfect man. He is smart and handsome. He has no weaknesses. He's well poised. He's a perfect gentleman when it comes to both saving people and being a photographer. If you really delve into his character, you notice that his only weakness comes from a literal villain trying to take away his powers. Wonder Woman is the same, but a woman. She's very clearly created by a man. She wears small clothing and lives on an island with only other women. She follows other people's directions and is more of like the dream woman. When you look at Marvel's biggest characters, you get Captain America and Spider-Man. Captain America was created in the midst of World War II, and for many this was a very depressing time. A lot of kids had their older brothers or their fathers out at war, and for many of them it's terrifying. So when Captain America was created, he was this ordinary boy who no one thought could be a hero until he became one. Unlike all the powerful DC characters, he faced scrutiny from his superiors and proved them all wrong and saved thousands of lives. I think that like in such terrifying times, Captain America brought hope to all those who were missing their loved ones. Spider-Man is a young teenage boy who has to deal with the troubles of being a high school student while juggling being a superhero. And if you read any of the comics or watch any of the TV shows or movies, it's very apparent that he definitely has anxiety. When he puts on his mask, he becomes a completely different person. He has a much more outgoing personality. He makes jokes. He will talk to like all the different people who he's saving. And when he's not wearing his mask, he is very more shy and stays in the corner. And I feel like this is definitely something. When it came to bringing the comics to life, Marvel and DC both went very different directions. DC is known for having big name characters in the movie, most likely because they feel like that's the best way to bring in a bigger audience. This is very apparent, especially in more recent movies where they have Robert Pattinson and Joaquin Phoenix. And while this may be a successful tactic, it doesn't really give them the ability to have the perfect casting. Marvel, on the other hand, commonly takes the unconventional route when it comes to their casting. One of the most popular of these would be Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. And at the time of the casting, he was not the desired choice. A lot of people wanted Tom Cruise or Nicolas Cage to take the part. This was because at the time, Robert Downey Jr. was a disgraced actor, but that ultimately made him the best for this character. He, at one point, was a young heartthrob who was very pampered throughout his life. And ultimately, his life ended up going to shambles when he went to jail. But he had the charm and the wit of Tony Stark, and he had the perfect look. If you compare what Tony Stark looks like in the comics versus what Robert Downey Jr. looks like, they are very similar. And when you watch the movies, you know that the Marvel Cinematic Universe would not be the same without him. If you really do look into it and you look at the success of Marvel, there is a reason for that. Marvel knows what they're doing when it comes to making movies. They know how to cast, and they don't try to go for the most famous person. They had a strategic plan on how the movies were going to be laid out from the very beginning, and this is something that DC could not do. So when it comes to which one is the winner, despite the fact that DC has done some amazing things, Marvel has outwon them by a landslide.